So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the session number 4 of organizational behavior. And in this session, we will cover up the next topic of our syllabus, that is about personality. Okay, we'll discuss about what is personality. We'll talk about the different personality traits. We talk about the different, you could say, how the personality can be formed, its determinants we'll talk about. Along with that, we will also cover up about different characteristics and different personality types when we talk about the personality characteristics of an individual. Now, the first thing first, what is personality actually if we talk about in the terms of now, if you take the personality, the word which is derived from the personae, that is a Latin word, which means speak through. Always remember, the personality is basically nothing but how people influence other with their appearances, with their knowledge, with their communication, or with their USPs. The important thing is that when we discuss about the personality, there is not having a thumb rule definition, or you could say a fixed definition, because the definition of personality differ from person to person. How, on what ground you can actually assess an individual, and what qualities and characteristics which may influence an individual. Now, when we discuss about the personality, it is basically the set of characteristics. If you can see the last definition, it is a set of characteristics and tendencies that determine those commonalities and differences in the psychological behavior. Because as you can see that a personality may be influencing for someone but may not be for other. Okay, it's very very important that what is your ground to analyze the personality. It is very very important to understand. Okay, so the psychological system of an individual always define the personality characteristics of a particular person. Okay, but a very basic definition about what is personality is all about. The second important part, personality traits, because when we discuss about the type of personality, we have basically different traits, different characteristics, different dynamics which we can understand over here. Okay, the first type of personality, it is called extraversion, or it is also called extroversion actually. Okay, this extroversion, basically personality types are more, you could say, sociable. They are more talkative, they are more assertive in nature. Okay, so when we discuss about the extroversion personality, this is basically, you could say, a particular person who is, you could say, more social, who is more talkative, he loves to talk to the people. Okay, and in such a case, he is basically always try to assert. Actually, it's a very very important thing. He always believe in how you can actually maintain relationship with your colleagues, with any other entity, and your customer, your clients, it may be. So the extraversion personality type, it's a more an open personality, tends to go, you could say, believe in more sociable, more, you could say, talkative, more assertive, and they are basically believe in maintaining the relationship. Okay, next one, we have agreeableness. Okay, the second dimension. Okay, agreeableness personality trait basically shows about a good nature person. They are, you could say, more cooperative, they are trustworthy. So the important thing is that agreeableness is basically nothing but how you are basically agreeing, or putting, you could say, your you could say stand on a particular talk, on a particular, you could say, initiative by an individual. So always remember, a particular person who is highly agreeable people, they are more cooperative, warm, and trustworthy. But people those who are actually always reluctant, they are more rigid. Definitely the people those who are rigid, they are actually, we can say, they are more reluctant, they are basically having low score of agreeableness. Okay, so agreeableness, low score, it means that they are basically more antagonistic, they are not at all cooperative, definitely, and they always actually take the opposite stand as compared to the other people. That is called the agreeableness personality traits. Okay, next one, conscientiousness. Okay, it is basically one of the very important personality type, which is more about, you could say, credibility in terms of reliability of an individual. Means these personality type people are more reliable, they are more responsible, you could say, they are persistent, they are dependable, and they are achievement oriented. Okay, so in such a cases, these personality types are basically are more attractive person. They are, you could say, having a different spark, different USP when it's come to the different personality characteristics. Again, a particular person having low score of the same, they are basically more distracted, disorganized, and unreliable. Okay. The point number 4 personality type is called emotional stability. Emotional stability is basically how emotionally, you could say, composed a particular individual when we come to certain negative situation or tough situation in the company. So emotional stability is all about how you can become calm in tough situation, how you are self confident, and how secured you feel when you talk about your job position, when you talk about society, when you talk about your family. Okay. So a particular person having positive emotional stability basically are more composed and more reliable and more stable when it's come to the handling certain situation. And when we come to high negative score, they are, you could say, more nervous, anxious, depressed, and insecure in nature. Okay. Next one is the last one is openness to experience. Okay. They are basically more intellectual, innovative. They always think differently from other. They always want to try something new for the market, new for their customer, new for society. So anyone who is basically openness to experience, having a range of interest and fascination, and these are the people, those who are actually more creative, curious, artistic in nature, and they are basically, you could say, more familiar and comfortable as well when we come to organizational culture. So in a simple language, if you can see that, they are imaginative, artistically sensitive, and intellectual people. So basic personality traits which we talked over here about it. I hope so it is clear, everyone. The different personality traits. Okay. Now the next part we have, that is about your model of this personality traits and how these personality traits are basically affecting the criteria or affecting the behavior of an individual when we come to these 5 basic characteristics of the personality type. Please kindly have a look at this, and I'll just unmute you after a few minutes of time and we'll discuss if there is any doubt to anyone, please. Because all these personality types are given, big 5 traits, why it is relevant in the company, and what does it affect. Just have a look of this, 5 minutes of time for you, and then we'll discuss upon it if you have any query in that. Yes, students, I'm unmuting everyone right now so that you can ask the query if you have in this particular flow diagram of big 5 traits and an influence on OB. Okay. Yeah, please. Because why these traits are important, that is about the relevance, its importance, and how it will affect the OB, organizational behavior, or individual behavior, we can say. And any query to anyone, please. I think so. We have explained about all these important 5 points and importance of that, along with how it affects the. It's very simple actually. This process. I have unmuted everyone. Please, if you have any query, do let me know. Else, we'll move to the next part: personality formation. How the personality is formed actually, the process of the same. Yes, Miss Poonam, Raksha, Sudipta, and Gaurav. Any doubt, please?
No doubts.
Thank you so much. So let's move to the next part, please, about personality formation. Now, the next part, it's very, very important to discuss first of all, because when we discuss about the personality formation, the personality formation is basically a process. The process which start from your birth and continue throughout your life. And because of your experience, because of your ups and downs in your life, this personality formation basically is basically a transformation or transition from one state to other state. Okay, so it is basically, it starts with birth and continues throughout his life. Okay, now when we discuss about these three major traits, or how, what are the three major steps we have. Okay, so three major types of factors are, now there are basically three factors of the same. The first, sorry, the first we'll discuss right now, that is called the determinants. Second would be the stages, and the third part we have, that is about the traits. Okay, now first of all we'll discuss about this first point, that is called your determinants. Okay, okay, now when we talk about the determinants part, determinants means there are basically three major type of personality determinant. Determinant basically what is the core of a particular individual when we talk about the defining or determining a personality. Okay, so core aspect of personality, which includes basic three parts. The first one is called biological, because the biological differences, the personality may differ. It may be social and cultural. Okay, now when we discuss about the first part, about the biological traits or biological determinants which actually define the characteristics of an individual. Now biological means we're talking about heredity. Okay, like from your father, from your mother, how exactly the traits which you are actually taking out from your family. Okay, these traits, maybe you could say body shape, maybe color, or you could say complexion, I think the better word, the complexion. When we talk about the height, weight, any disease, these are the biological symptoms, biological determinants which actually define the personality of an individual. The second part is called your social. Now social is all about the family and the friends. When we talk about society or the social, we're talking about family and friends or your relatives maybe. Okay, the next part is the cultural context. Now cultural context basically associated with, when we talk about a particular person, culture means we are discussing about might be the religion, their values, their basis, or any other influences which derived from a particular individual's culture or upbringing, we can say. Okay, so that is the major three determinants first of all, which are the core aspect of the personality of an individual, which may be biological, social, and the cultural. Okay, the next part, we have the second determinant, that is called the stages. Okay, now when we discuss about the stages of a particular person, sorry, stages of development of personality or formation of personality, we are basically based on 4 major stages, because um, it was suggested by Sigmund. Okay, it was suggested by Sigmund. Okay, the Sigmund is basically proposes the 4 major stages of personality formation. It was suggested by Sigmund as 4 major stages of personality formation. Number 1 is called dependent. Second is compulsive. Compulsive. The third one, it is called Oedipal. And the last is mature. Okay, now we're discussing in detail right now. What about this dependency? What about these other stages? Now, when we discuss about the first category about this, in this case, that is called the dependency. As you can see that once the child born, actually have a newborn baby, school going a child, definitely once he's not settled or once he's not actually taking care of himself or herself, definitely parents are always giving them some sort of cushion when it's come to their upbringing. That is called the dependency or dependent stage of an individual. When it got compulsive is the stage when they start earning, when they have actually, you could certain sort of responsibility, some growth stage in their career, the growth stage in their, you could say their marriage and everything will come, the major life stages which they always face. That is called the compulsive stage. Oedipal is basically the stage before retirement, or you could say the major stage when the particular person got married. He has now certain major responsibilities. The responsibility has been transferred from the mother, father to the child. And this is called the Oedipal stage. And the last one is maturity or the mature stage. Once a particular person is basically having a big family, you could say big responsibilities, once it is done, now their child, okay, or their successor, definitely now taking care of the businesses and the jobs or the other obligations of the family. So the major, you could say, 4 stages which we are talking about in this case, that is about the dependent, compulsive, Oedipal, and the mature. The last third part which comes under personality formation, which is called the traits. Now traits, as I told you already, traits, like we discussed already about this 5 different type of traits are always psychological. Always remember, it's always psychology of an individual, how a particular person can actually perceive someone when we talk about their physical appearance, when we talk about their way of talking, when we talk about any other USP which might be liked by someone. So traits are basically nothing but psychology of an individual, psychology of an individual, and their reflection over, and their reflection. I think that is quite perfect. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the psychology of an individual, there are some trait theories which we have, like, because we'll discuss later on about the various trait theories as well we have. Now, these traits, maybe you could say social, political, okay, based on traits only, based on traits only, personality formation can be derived, and these traits may be political, social, when we talk about like religious, because traits may be anything, okay, and according to that, their preferences, there are a lot of things actually, because when you talk about the particular human upbringing, there are so many different things which actually define or you could say create the personality formation or the reflection of someone in the mind of a particular individual, or you could say in the society as well. Okay, so the major, you could say, traits, according to that the personality can be formed. So I think it is clear, the personality formation is starting from the birth till the death of an individual, and the 3 major factors, that is about determinants, stages, and the traits. Is it clear, everyone? I hope so. Let me unmute everyone right now. And if you have any query, we can discuss. Else, we'll move to the next part, that is about the determinants of personality. Yes, I have unmuted now. Any doubt to anyone in this traits part, please? The personality formation process. I'll wait for a few minutes. No doubts, I think so.
So I have missed one slide, personality formation.
This one.
Yes, how personality is formed.
Yeah. See, personality is
Yes.
basically formation is a process. It starts from the birth of an individual till the death of a person. Okay. According to that, at each and every stage of their life, the personality characteristics or personality reflection may differ. For example, in your childhood, your personality was something different. Once you have started going to school, definitely personality changes a bit. Then you'll just move to colleges, then your higher education, then your marriage, then your child's and everything. So you can see that it's a life cycle actually. And on each and every stage of your life, definitely your personality, your reflection may differ, and how the person perceive, how the person may attract towards you. It's all about your experiences. It's all about your, you could say, the background from where you belong to, from upbringing where you have. So these are the basic characteristics which you always define the personality formation. And it's not a static approach, it's a dynamic approach actually, a continuous approach you can say, when we come to personality formation.
Okay.
Clear, Miss Poonam? Yeah, thank you so much.
Yes. Yes.
Let's move to the next part, please. That is about determinants of personality. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the determinants of personality, there are basically four major determinants which belongs to, because like for why I'm discussing determinant is factors affecting personality, because personality of Miss Poonam might differ from Rahul, might differ from Sakraksha, and might differ from Sudipta as well. Okay, so in such a case, the personality of each and every individual available in the class right now may differ as well, because of their work profile, because of their upbringing, their religion as well, you could say which country they belongs to. Okay, what are their major qualification they have, because if you can see that a particular person is an MBA guy having different personality, a person is scientist, different personality, a person is a politician, different personality. So determinants of personality totally depends on four major factors. Okay, the first factor is called cultural factor. Second factor is called your family factor. The third is basically your situational factor. And the fourth part is basically your social factors. Now, I'll be giving examples, I think, on that, and we'll discuss all these points. Okay. Now, you can see that when we're talking about the cultural factor, okay. Now, what is culture, first of all? Okay. Culture is basically, we can define a simple language, what a person is and what a person will learn. Okay, because culture is basically is all about, if you can simple define over here, it is basically the beliefs we have, values we have, and we can say the moral values. I think it will be covered under values only. When we talk about norms of society, okay, which society you belongs to, the norms of society is also one of the major factor. Okay, along with norms, if we can say about attitude, again one of the major factor, because cultural factor is basically what a person is basically learning from the society. Okay, and that environment is basically ultimately affecting the personality of particular individual. Okay, the next part is your family. Okay, the family is basically nothing but, as I told you, about the upbringing. Okay, the members of your family, how they are, what their profession is, what type of, you could say, economic activity which they perform. So when we discuss about these personality types, in this case, the family factor or family structure always play very crucial role. Okay, because as you know that a child always want to behave like their mother and father, they are basically their role models. Okay, so in the family, it's very important that how you are influencing your child, how you are influencing the teenagers or the children in your family, it totally depends on the family member, the family structure. Okay, so in family, if we can just simply, we can understand that is all about the influence of elders in family over child. Okay, so according to the family structure, these things always varies. Okay, the next part we have, that is about the situational factor. Okay, situational basically factor, it totally depends on individual, what type of experiences and events which they have faced in their life. Okay, these experiences and events may be financial issues, maybe certain, you could say, medical issues, maybe certain, you could say, challenges when it's come to you could say psychological challenges, some you could say unexpected contingencies happen in the family. All these situation factor always actually affecting an individual personality. Okay, so any event in the life, any experience in the life will change, will alter the behavior of a particular person. Okay, the last part which comes as a social factors. Okay, now when we discuss about the social factor, it is basically the way how a particular socialization is basically is the, you could say, more a broader term which we can talk about. Okay, now when we discuss about this particular part, the socialization is basically how a particular person is basically contributing towards social group. Okay, and when we discuss about the connection of a particular child with their mother, then with their father, then the family, then the schoolmate, then the friend, then the colleague at the workplace. So starting from the connection of a child with their parents, then their grandparents, their other family members, then school friends, then the life goes till the last actually. So these are the basically important part when we discuss about these social factors. The social factors are basically associated with the contact from parents till parents till colleagues at workplace. So each and every individual always playing a very, very significant role when it's come to defining the personality of an individual. I hope so this part is also clear. Poonam, yes, just a minute. Yes, Poonam, I have unmuted you, please. You can proceed.
So what is the in cultural factor? What is matlab, how value will read?
See, cultural factor when we talk about the upbringing of an individual. Okay, culture is basically not about like, for example, if I'm not talking about the caste of a particular person, not about the language of a particular person, it is basically what type of moral values which is being inculcated into your child. Okay, and how he actually believe on certain grounds, what side sort of, you could say, the learning which you have given to your child at the early stage. So each and every factor will always count under cultural factors only. Culture is basically all about the core and the base of a particular person. Miss Poonam, I think I have unmuted you one more time. Yes, Miss Poonam.
My basic concern is related to value. What the value is here, moral value.
Yes, definitely. Moral values. Okay. It's all about like what is good or what is bad. The difference between good and bad is basically a definition differ from person to person. Okay. So that is the values which values, moral values we talk about. When you talk about, you could say, certain traffic rule you have to follow, the spitting on the road. See, there are so many things when we talk about the values. Okay, so values maybe, you could say, differ from person to person, and how they are actually implementing those values in the society, that is always come from your parents and your grands or your family members. Miss Poonam, I think I have unmuted you again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Understood. Yes, understood. Thank you, sir.
Any other query to anyone, please, in this part about determinants? You can raise your hand. If not, then we'll move to the next topic, that is personality factor, because this is a one last topic we have, but it's very lengthy, and we'll discuss all those points one by one. Okay. because now the next topic will come, that is about the personality factors in organization. Haji. Shall we start? I think. Yeah, sure. I think so. Yes. So let's move to the next topic and the most important topic of this particular syllabus, that is about personality factors in organization. Personality factors in organization. The first, we have need pattern. The second one, we have locus of control. Third one is basically introversion and extroversion. Next, we have tolerance for ambiguity. Tolerance for ambiguity. Next one, we have self-esteem and self-concept. I think we discussed already in the last class, but I still will revise it once. Then we have the next characteristics, that is about the authoritarianism and dogmatism. Okay, note it down, this methods we will discuss one by one, all this part. Next, we have risk propensity, because these are all the personality factor types we will discuss. Then we have Machiavellianism. Then we have the next part, type A and type B personality. Then we have work ethic orientation. Etc. So these are the, I think, major part we'll discuss. And that is that. Okay. So one by one, we need to cover up all these methods now. That is about the personality factors in an organization. Okay. So let's start with the first one, that is about the need pattern. What is the meaning of need pattern actually? Because need pattern basically define a personality of an individual. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the first part about the need pattern, this theory or this factor was derived by Steers and Bronston in 1976, and they have actually developed a scale of 4 need of personality that become apparent in the work environment. Okay, so need pattern is basically a scale of scale for the 4 needs of personality. Okay, scale of 4 needs of personality. Okay, now these 4 needs are: number 1, these 4 needs are: number 1, the need for achievement, the need for achievement. The second one, the need for affiliation. The third part, we have the need for autonomy. And the last, we have the need for dominance. Okay, now when we discuss about the first part, about the need for achievement, okay, what is the meaning of need for achievement? First of all, achievement means a particular person want to achieve certain goals, their characteristics in the life, and he or she always, you could say, feel proud, always feel confident whenever they achieve success in their life. So need for achievement is basically is all about the engagement of one to achieve success. Engagement of one to achieve high level of success. Okay, that is a very basic fundamental about a particular need pattern, because this is again the one of the important, you could say, characteristics how a particular person personality may differ. Because if a particular person want to achieve something, he may actually you could say, for example, if you want to become a lawyer, you always want to study, you always want to you could say create your mind, or you could say you always focus in those direction only, because the channelization of a particular person, how their energy, how their mindset is basically ready in order to achieve something in their life. That is about the need for achievement. That is the continuous engagement of someone to achieve high level of success. Okay. The second part is need for affiliation. Okay. Now, what about the affiliation first of all? Okay. Affiliation is basically how a particular person like to work cooperatively with others. Okay. Or you could say likes of one to cooperate at workplace or cooperate with others. I think so. Okay. Means cooperation in terms of any help, any suggestion, any training, any guidance. So that is again the need for affiliation. Okay. Next part is need for autonomy. Okay. Autonomy is basically how a particular person perform when not closely supervised. Okay. Performance of one when not closely supervised. Now, autonomy basically is all about how free hand you have given to your employee and how freely they can perform in the organization. That is about the need for autonomy. The next part we have the need for dominance now. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the need for dominance, it is all about how a particular person can enforce for legitimate authority. So, a dominance is basically is all about authority given to one and its implementation. So it is all about like how what sort of authority, responsibility, the power you have in the organization and how you're performing in those directions. That is a part of your need for dominance. So there are major four stages when we talk about the need pattern: achievement, affiliation, autonomy, and the dominance. Any doubt to anyone, please? You can raise your hand. We can discuss on this need pattern right now. Yes, or any doubt to anyone, please, you can raise your hand. Yes, friends, any query to anyone, please? You can raise your hand. If not, then we'll move to the next topic. That is locus of control. Haji, any doubt to anyone, please? I hope so, no? Okay, so we are just taking a break of 10 minutes, students. It's 5:50 right now. We'll get back to 6 o'clock sharp and we will cover up all these topics. Locus of control, intro, extro, tolerance, and all these topics one by one. Fine? Okay, we'll get back to you at 6 o'clock sharp and we'll continue with these topics now. Okay. Yes, student, let's start now. So moving to the next part of the personality factors. That is locus of control, the second point under personality factors. Now, when we discuss about what is locus of control is basically nothing but the degree to which an individual believes that his or her behavior has a direct impact on the consequences of a certain event. Okay. Now, when we talk about, you could say in an organization, I'll just give an example directly for that. When we discuss about the locus of control in an organization, you always believe that, like, for example, if you're working really hard for the company in order to achieve certain target, in order to achieve, you could say, certain goals in the organization, what used to happen in certain conditions? The locus of control is basically if a particular person believes that or expect that because of his or her hard work, he would be able to achieve certain, you could say, level of achievement, certain level of recognition in the organization. So that is basically the part of your locus of control. Okay. Now, locus of control may be basically like it may be internal, it may be external as well. Okay, because control over one's life, one's career, and when we talk about you could say one's professional life as well, if we talk about, in each and every case a particular person will basically based on their fate, their chances, their luck, or behavior of other people, how they are basically performing or how they are basically controlling their life, or how they are actually controlling a situation in the organization. So in a simple language, if you can see that, it is basically the degree of, or you could say better to write down degree to which an individual believes that his or her behavior has direct impact on the result of certain target, or result direct impact on the result. I think that is far better as well. Okay, so in this case basically these particular locus of control may be because of, we could say, one always believe, because when we talk about this strong you could say beliefs of an individual of an individual in terms of how hard they work. Okay, and some people think that, some people, or you could say in contrast, if we talk about, in contrast, some people thinks that destiny, or you could say the success, we can say success is, or success depends on fate, luck, or you could say chance, or you could say behavior of other people, because how the other people will behave accordingly, their luck, their promotion, their increment may decide in the organization. So behavior of other people. Okay, so the basic concept about the portion. Okay, now these people basically focus on all such, you could say, contrasting part, and rather to focus on their skills, their performance, their hard work, they are focusing on the their fate, luck, chance, or behavior of the other people. That is about the locus of control, how hard you work and how you can able to achieve the success. That is a part of your locus of control. Is it clear, everyone? Anji, is this part clear? the locus of control. I hope so it is clear, everyone. If so, then we'll move to the next topic, please. Okay. So the next part we have, that is about the introversion and extroversion. The next part we have, that is introversion and extroversion. We discuss this particular topic in today's class only. It is nothing but the introvert and extrovert mentality of an individual. And on the basis of that only, a particular person may be, you could say, having different mindset, okay, different tendency, how they actually proceed their thought process, their ideas into the market. Now, introversion and extroversion personalities basically are introversion. If we talk about the first one, they are the person who always direct, who always actually feel, who always actually provide the idea in such a case. But when we talk about extroversion, they have a tendency to individual to look outside themselves, searching for external stimuli which they can interact with. Okay. So extrovert, if we talk about, they are, you could say, more sociable, they are more lively, they are, you could say, more open when it comes to society. They believe in making more relationship. Okay, so these are the extroversion. The introversions basically are like quite reflective, they are introspective, they are intellectual people, but they prefer to interact with a small intimate circle of the friends. Okay, because both the personality type differ from a particular situation, differ from a particular, you could say, profession as well. Okay, like when we talk about a person, you could say, engaged in research and development work, some artistic work, they are basically the one who are, you could say, the personality type is the suits to, that is about the introversion. Okay, so introversion is basically, if we talk about the simple word, when we talk about introverts, they are basically, you could say, quiet. We can say the second personality type, which is called reflective. When we talk about introspective, and what else we can say, they are basically intellectual people. They are mutually more focused towards their work profile as well. They are intellectual, and the most important thing, they always prefer to interact in a small intimate circle. Always interact in a small intimate circle. Okay, so basic character is about introverts. But when we talk about the extroverts, because see, we are discussing about the personality type and its factors. When we talk about the extroverts, they are more sociable, open, they are, you could say, friendly, or we can say they are more talkative as well, lively as well. So all these characteristics belongs to the extrovert personality. Okay, any doubt to anyone, please, about this? And like if we talk about in the case of organization, the extrovert peoples are basically more successful when you talk about organization, because they are, you could say, more open. They are basically best successful managers in the company. So these are the part which we, when we come about the introverts and the extroverts. Okay, any doubt to anyone, please, in this case, introversion and extroversion personality? If you have, please can raise your hand, we can discuss those. Yes, Ms. Raksha, you have any doubt? Okay. Yes, Ms. Raksha, please tell me.
Yes, how that introvert person be sociable person? Does it relate to the determinant of the personality, that social factors?
No, introverts are not sociable actually. Extroverts are sociable actually. Introverts are.
Sorry, extrovert. Sorry.
Yes, definitely it's a personality type, Ms. Raksha. Okay, because extroverts are those people, they are very open to talk. They are always, they are more creative, we can say. They always want to try something new. They always want to inculcate some new changes. So that these personality type basically are like very open, very friendly, very lively, very talkative. These all characteristics belong to an extrovert personality. I hope so. I have unmuted again, please. Ms. Raksha.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's clear.
the next characteristics, when we come to the third part of this particular factors, that is about the tolerance for ambiguity. Tolerance for ambiguity. Now, when we discuss about the tolerance for ambiguity, it is nothing but up to what extent people can tolerate without any stress. Because you can see that there are a lot of work pressure when we talk about in the organization. So important personality characteristics that is level of uncertainty that people can tolerate to work efficiently without experiencing under stress. Okay. So when we discuss about all those, you could say managers working in the company or an individual working in the company, those who are having high tolerance for ambiguity can cope up under difficult situations. Okay. So a person having high level of tolerance can cope up under tough situations, under tough situation or challenges, we can say. Okay. So tolerance for ambiguity means how composed you are, how mentally strong you are when we come to the challenges, when we come to the difficulty, when it comes to the downturn of the company, or you could say unfavorable condition for an individual. In such a cases, tolerance for ambiguity is the most important personality dimension for manager success. Okay, so always remember, a particular person having higher tolerance level, definitely they can actually sustain in the company, even though there is a high pressure of work, high pressure of, you could say, commitment or fulfillment of various responsibilities in the organization. Okay. The next characteristics or next part which we'll discuss now, that is about the self-esteem and self-concept. I think that we discussed already in the last class. If you want to have a revision, is the self-concept we already covered up, and self-esteem we have also covered up. Okay. So that I'm not going to revise again. I'm just simply copying this, and this would be in the part of your notes as well. Okay. So self-concept and self-esteem we have already covered up in the last classes. Okay. So let's move to the next part then. I think the other two discuss it again. We are discussing about authoritarianism and dogmatism. Authoritarianism and dogmatism. Okay. Now, when we discuss about the authoritarianism and dogmatism, what is authoritarian first of all? It is basically an extent or the degree to which a particular person believes that power and position and the status differences are important within the organization. Authoritarian means you must have some power in the company. You must have some authority in the company so that you always feel positive, motivated, and more, you could say, dominant when it's come to the managing the hierarchy in the organization. Okay. So when we discuss about, like, for example, a particular employee working in the company, okay, having higher authority, he can direct to their you could say to their subordinate, to their colleagues, without any, you could say, query in their mind, because they have complete authority to manage the organization. Okay, so authoritarianism is a simple language. It is NISM. Authoritarianism is the degree to which an individual believes that power and status differences are important within hierarchical social system. Okay, and when we come to the second characteristic, that is dogmatism, is the opposite of that. Okay, the dogmatism is basically all about rigidity of a person belief that they are basically more, you could say, the close-minded people. They are basically the one who are always rigid in it when it comes to their approach. So the dogmatism is basically a particular person rigidity, and it's belief that his openness or her openness to others viewpoint. Okay, like for example, if someone is giving some advice in the organization and that advice might be fruitful for the company, but the person who belongs to dogmatism, that basically they are more rigid when it's come to other person's belief. They don't want that other person's belief should be accepted. Okay, that is called dogmatism. So dogmatism is the rigidity of one, or you could say rigidity of a person's belief and his openness to others viewpoint. Okay, so it's a very basic important definition about the dogmatism personality people. Okay, next one is risk propensity, the next point. The next point we have, that is about the risk propensity. Okay, now when we discuss about the risk propensity, is basically the degree to which a particular person is willing to take risk under certain decisions. Okay, so it is degree or extent, we can say, degree to which an individual, because up to what extent you can digest risk, you can bear risk in the company, within which in which an individual is willing to take chances and make risky decisions. Okay, so very simple, I think point, and they are the one, you could say, who always come up with good ideas, or you could say innovative idea, because they're a risk taker. Okay, so come up with good ideas, you could say new directions for the company, or new or you could say different thinking for the company, so new directions as well, that may be one of the point. Okay, so a particular person is basically having low risk propensity. They are more stagnant, they are more conservative. Okay, so like for example, low risk propensity leads to stagnant and conservative personality. Okay, next part, that is about Machiavellianism. The next personality type Now the Machiavellianism basically are nothing but the influencing or manipulating other people, how they can manipulate, how they can alter, how they can change the mindset in a negative fashion. Okay, because of that they can actually gain certain control over others. Okay, so Machiavellianism is nothing but it is manipulating or influencing other people as a primary way of achieving one's goal. Means how you can distract someone to achieve something in the organization, how you can pull someone to get ahead of an particular individual. Okay, that is about the Machiavellianism. Okay, now the next part we have after Machiavellianism, we have type A and type B personality, the second last personality factor. Type A and type B personality characteristics. Okay, type A persons basically are highly achievement oriented person. They are basically having more competitive drive, they have a hunger to achieve something. Okay, but sometimes they are impatient when their work is basically slowed down for any reason. Okay, type B personalities are easygoing individual. They do not have any time urgency, who do not experience any competitive drive. But type A individual always, you could say, more prone to heart attacks, and type B as compared to type B individuals. And type A persons are always helping the company to move ahead in the shorter period of time. And somehow the type B personality people basically tends with the company for longer period of time. Okay, so in a simple language, let me just type this in a chart or in a graph. I think so. Far better to discuss, I think, about this part. So type A and type B personality will just differentiate on two grounds. The first is type A personality. Type A personality is basically they have a sense of time urgency. They have a sense of time urgency, and they don't feel any time urgency. The second characteristics of this particular part, they have a competitive drive. No competitive drive. See, we are discussing about nothing but two types of personality characteristics. Okay, competitive drive, and second one would not have any competitive drive. The first, they are more prone to heart attacks or more prone to disease, you can say. And second one, less prone to heart attacks. Okay, the other characteristics when we talk about the type and type B personality, they are impatient when or you could say they are impatient, and they are easygoing individuals. Okay, so I think there are sufficient you could say characteristics about type and type B personality. Okay, now move to the last one, that is work ethics orientation, the next and the last topic of the personality characteristics, that is about work ethics orientation. Now, when we discuss about the work ethic orientation, they are basically the people, those who actually believe in following the ethics, the responsibilities, and when we talk about the orientation of the company, they always believe on the workaholism. Okay, they always consider their work as a primary motive without any disturbance. Okay, so these, okay, or we can say that work ethics leads to workaholism, workaholism, okay, and they always consider, work as only primary motive for living with very little outside interest. Primary motive for living with very little outside, because they are more focused on their work. So the major, you could say, personality type we have discussed as of now in the class, and this is all about this particular topic, the personality characteristics. Okay. So now if you have any query, you can just raise your hand and we can discuss all those doubts, please. From tomorrow, we'll start the next topic, that is attitude and perception. Okay, the next topic we have. Yes, students. Now the house is open for discussion. You can raise your hand and we can discuss the doubts, please. Yes, sir. You can raise your hand. I'll unmute you. I hope so. There is no query. As of now, I cannot see any raising of hand of the student. Let me unmute everyone. I think if not having any query, we can just discuss and we'll just sign on for the day. Yes, students. I've unmuted everyone. Any query, please?
No, sir, no query.
Okay, then perfect. Any more students, please? Anyone else? Yes, please tell me.
Yeah, yesterday we discussed about the factors affecting individual behavior. There were almost 10 to 12 factors, right?
Yes.
Personality and economics. So today we covered only personality factors.
Yes, only personality, yes.
Yeah, and economic social factors are yet to covered, right?
Yes. No, under personality, we have covered up the what is personality, the various factors of personality, types of personality.
Yes.
That we are done. From tomorrow, we'll start attitude and perception, the next topic.
Yeah, attitude. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we'll move to the leadership and all the related topic related to that. Okay. So one by one, we'll cover up all the topics in upcoming classes.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Any more doubt, please, to anyone? I hope so. No. Fine. So
No
let's.
doubts. That's clear.
Yeah, fine. Thank you so much. So let's find out for the day and we'll catch you tomorrow at same time, 5 o'clock, and we'll continue with the next topic, attitude and perception. Thank you so much, everyone. Please take care.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.